Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast. So today I have an awesome guest. He's going to be explaining and telling us a little bit about this product that's actually new to me. And after kind of looking into it and digging a little bit deeper, it's actually it's so simple, but also genius. It has so many applications to what we do as pest professionals that, the possibilities where we can place these, it's endless. And so Jay Baker is the creator, idea man, I'm going to call him a genius, behind the product DoomBox. Jay, what is the DoomBox?
Oh, good morning, Daniel. Well, the DoomBox is they say necessity is the mother of invention, and that applies here absolutely. I can give you the brief story about how this came into creation, and it might explain why this product even exists.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, how did you get the idea?
Well, love of my life and I have 4 adult children, and maybe about 5 years ago now, I guess, our third-born child, after playing some college football, says, "Mom and Dad, over Christmas, I'm joining the Marine Corps." And he had been thinking about the Marine Corps since he was 10 years old, the Gus Macker tournament. And we say, well, more power to you. That's fantastic. We support you. And, as life plays out, he had adopted Ada, the rescue dog in Miami when he was doing an internship down there the summer before deciding he's entering the Marine Corps. So my wife and I now have this 45-pound, short-haired Miami girl that shivers at 70 degrees. And we live in the far west corner of New York State where we get lots of cold and lots of snow. So for the first time in a long time, we had a dog in the house. And I travel a lot, going to conventions and shows. And we're coming into fall, and Sharon, my wife, says, "What are we going to do about Ada and the mouse traps?" And because we live out in the boonies here, we get mice. They come in, and I'd always use a snap trap because I just didn't want to ever have to deal with poison where they're dying in the wall or all those other possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
And so now we got this dog, a very curious dog, and we have traps. And so my wife comes up with the idea of, I got an idea. So she goes and gets a shoebox, cuts a hole in the side of the shoebox, sticks one of the snap traps in there, and ties it off with a string and puts it down on the kitchen floor. And lo and behold, we got a dead mouse the next morning. I'm like, wow, this is great. The only problem is I'm the designated mouse extractor expert in our family. So I find myself having to untie the shoebox in the morning and to see if I got a mouse or not. And it took me a little bit of time, but I've come up with this invention called clam caner, which utilizes a patented closure mechanism on a clamshell, and it works fantastic. We sell millions of these a year now, and I happen to have one sitting on the kitchen counter, and I look at it and I go, I wonder if I could get the mouse trap into that thing, which is clear. I cut a hole in the side of it. I won't have to open up the shoebox every morning and see what's waiting for me. So I took my pocket knife, hacked a hole in the side of the thing, put the mouse trap in there, put it down on the floor, and bang, there's a mouse the next morning. So, wow, this is pretty cool. Easy to dump out. And so I made up like a half a dozen of these, put 3 or 4 in the house, 3 or 4 down in the garage, and I'm killing mice left and right. And I'm starting to realize, this may have some real market potential. You can see in whatever mess the mouse makes is staying inside the container. No more, I got to get a paper towel and clean up the mess. they can't drag the trap away, which always happens eventually. Somebody runs across the trap and gets a tail caught and drags it behind the refrigerator.
Yeah.
We've all had that happen. They can't do that anymore. The other thing I noticed was absolutely clean extermination, because they come in and they turn upstream. So the mouse is always headed straight into the trap. Mm-hmm. And I've never had a sprung trap yet that didn't have a dead mouse in it when it's inside a DoomBox. So one thing leads to another. And we had been selling our product, the Clamtainer line, which is ammunition boxes and sewing and crafts and hardware, just all sorts of different uses, at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, PA, which is held every February. Mm-hmm. It's 9 days of selling to the general public. And my original idea was to make a universal container that would hold anybody's trap on the market and sell it separately. And I had a design kind of put together, and even though I owned the place, it was the boss's crazy idea. Kind of always got shoved to the side because here's people who were like, real purchase orders, boss. We got to ship. I'm like, okay. And so we're getting closer to the show, and I'm frustrated. Like, I'm going to go to the show again, and I'm not going to find out whether or not this product has any potential. And then a light went off in my head, and I'm like, well, why don't I just buy a bunch of traps, and we'll sell it with the trap inside? Sort of a marketing 101. You can't believe we didn't think about that before.
Yeah.
So we did. We bought a bunch of traps, and we had a standard Clamtainer, had no name, no marketing. The only thing I had for marketing was I had caught, what was it? 14 mice in my garage in a 3-day period, right around Christmas time that year. We had a heck of a cold snap. I had 6 traps in boxes set in the garage, and they just swarmed in. And I got 6 and 6, and then 2 more, and then the tidal wave of mice coming into the garage subsided. So I'm a bit of a joker. So instead of just tossing them out, knowing I was going to the Great American Outdoor Show in a couple of months, I stapled them by the tail on a piece of plywood, and put new world record, 14 mice in 3 days. And I just made a big picture of the thing, like a poster card thing, right? Yeah. And so the Great American Outdoor Show, I put that up, and there are the DoomBoxes. I got a DoomBox with a plastic mouse in there, and people just thought it was fantastic. And when they see it, they get it immediately.
Oh, yeah.
So we had made up 1,000 of these things for the show, thinking, well, it'll be good to see if we can sell a few. And we sold out the first day. It was the number one product that we were selling. Like, maybe we are onto something here. So then I got back with my folks, because it's a 9-day show. I've got to tell you, it's a lot of fun, but it is pretty exhausting. And I said, for the next weekend, we need more. So we made up another 1,000, sold all of those out. And then I'm like, we've got a product. And but we don't have a name, we don't have marketing. And since that point in time, we have name and marketing and more patents filed. And we have the most devoted following. You talk about a strange club to be in, but we have the DoomBox Club. I mean, people come up and tell us the funniest stories. I have a good friend who's a lawyer whose wife checks her trap line before she gets her coffee in the morning. She's got 4 or 5 boxes set in the house, and she checks the trap line in the morning before she gets her coffee.
Oh my! I mean, you stepped into our world. The pest control world is a little weird and interesting, but I mean, I get it. It's not that weird to me.
Oh, it's been a laugh a minute, and it's been fun because the product is so effective and it works so well. And people, nobody goes backwards. Once you have a DoomBox, it's like I don't know. Well, and a switch thrown in your brain. You can't go back.
No, well, you know what? I mean, I'll be honest. I wish I knew about this. Oh, God, probably about a year ago or over a year ago. I don't know. When did you actually come out with this?
About that time when it was first coming out commercially. It was about a year ago.
Oh, okay. So it was a little bit before, so I wouldn't have been able to get it. But I have a story that this would have worked perfect with. So we moved in. We moved a year and a half ago into this home, and me being a technician, I own a pest control company. I go and put out. I had glue boards everywhere in my house just in case. I didn't know what I was moving into. I didn't see anything, but I didn't care. I just was going to make sure everything was handled. So I put out a ton of these glue boards, and one just happened to be right next to the refrigerator. And you could see it every morning. Just like that lady before she gets her cup of coffee, she goes and checks it. I would check the glue boards as well.
Right.
Just to make sure. And so one morning, I go downstairs and the glue board's not there. And I just assumed. I'm like, you know what? I don't know what happened. I have a daughter. She's young, so she could have picked it up, and then my wife could have thrown it away. My wife could have saw something in it and then threw it away. I don't know. I wasn't really thinking too much about it. But there's a bathroom offset of the kitchen. And so when I went to the bathroom, I closed the door, and there was a glue board. And I'm thinking, dang, I don't remember putting something back there. I'm like, I better look a little bit closer. So I pick it up, and there's a bunch of hair inside, fur from a mouse. And so I actually had just only one. I only had one mouse inside of the house in the kitchen. I ended up catching it really quick, but I mean, the DoomBox would have been perfect in that situation because they can't take it, and I watched the video on the website. So everybody listening, go check out the website, DoomBox.com, and you can actually watch this video. It explains everything really well. But in that situation, it would have been perfect because I would have had just one mouse inside of the box, and it would have been done. And I wouldn't have had and I went and set up 1,000 snap traps. I mean, you don't go inside a technician's house, right? I mean, a rat, bug, anything. And so I ended up catching it, but this would have been perfect. I mean,
yeah, I want to correct one. It's DoomBoxTraps.com.
Oh, DoomBoxTraps.com. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. We probably should go ahead and get the DoomBox.com as well, but apparently that was something associated with some kind of strange gaming thing or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But DoomBox, it was something way to the other side of what we're talking about.
Don't Google it. Don't Google it.
Yeah, I don't know what it might be there.
Oh, man. DoomBoxTraps.com. Go check it out. They have a video. And I did see the other video. I'm sure you've seen it. The lady in her cabin. Or maybe it's her house. And,
gosh, yes. Yes. When she's doing the play-by-play?
Yeah. And the mouse is just running around her kid?
Yeah. that you can't script something that funny.
No.
They're trying to watch the Super Bowl, and this little guy's playing with his iPad or whatever, and this mouse is running around, and the cat's ignoring the mouse, and the mouse finally goes to the DoomBox. Her play-by-play is priceless.
Oh, yeah. No, you have to go watch that. That was crazy. I was sitting there watching that last night, actually, and my wife was just staring at me like, what are you laughing at? Like, what are you watching? I'm like, you got to see this. Like, it's crazy. This kid's just sitting there on his iPad. He has his headphones on, and the mom's just doing play-by-play, and the kid doesn't even know there's a mouse running around him. I mean, it's crazy. That was awesome. And then it goes right inside, and it was like, oh, hey, look, there's something right here. Let me grab it. Oh, and then they catch it. That's great. So Jay, the next thing is so in the video, not that video, not the play-by-play, but the other video that kind of explains it. It talks about how you got input from technicians like me. So from professionals, that are dealing with mice and rats on a day-to-day basis. How did you get into that? What made you think to go talk to them, or what was that behind that?
Well, we actually got feedback from the Great American Outdoor Show. The last, I don't know what it would have been last year. Of course, it was canceled because of COVID. The year before, I think they had 300,000 attendees, and we had a number of professional exterminators to stop and look at the product. And this was a very rudimentary. This was I was still throwing it in a standard container, and cutting one hole in there. And they're like, hey, you got to put two holes in there because then gives you access from either side. That makes sense. Plus, if rodents can see an escape route, they're less fearful of exploring whatever that device is, and the efficacy of your kill rate goes up. And so we made that change, and we narrowed it down. It was at one time because we were using a standard clamtainer, which wasn't ever intended to be a mousetrap put in there. Our first product, we were still using that standard clamtainer, and it was wider than necessary in relationship to the size of the snap trap.
Yeah.
And so when we narrowed it up, it made it absolutely impossible for even a small critter to possibly go on one side or the other of the trap, because once you turn and go upstream, your fate's pretty much sealed. There's no accident. I know I get in trademark trouble, but it's like the Hotel California. You can check in, but you can't check out.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's awesome that you took those ideas, because, there's people will go by like little bait stations and things from Home Depot or Walmart, and it's a one entry and you never see anything taken out of it. But a lot of people don't know that, and we don't expect you to know that. You're not studying how mice, work or what the best, way to catch them. And so that's awesome that you actually took that feedback and turned it into something, because you're absolutely correct. If it doesn't have two holes on either side, more than likely the mouse isn't going to go inside. Yep. And so, and the other thing is that, I saw that the trap was actually it looks like it's actually attached to the plastic, right? So it just like clips in.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. In fact, the first DoomBoxes, when we came up with version 2.0, we were gluing the trap into position, and then to get away from having to use glue, the snap trap now locks under little detention lugs, and so there's no glue. The trap just goes in there, and it's intended to stay in there forevermore. The intent is that it's a unit. It's not a trap and a container. It's a unit altogether, and it works great. It just works great, and you can see it's so easy to reset. And you don't have to touch the mouse. You dump it out, push down the bar, put it back in the corner, and you're back in business.
Which I'll actually give you some feedback. Not like changing anything, but the genius idea behind it is because in high rodent infested areas, California is a really high one. I know New York is a really high one because they have, it's called Rodent Academy. And you can go to this academy and they tell you everything you can think of about rodents. But they also talk about not touching it. So not touching the trap with your bare hands. And so that's actually a really good idea. You put that in there so you're not actually touching the bar with your bare hands, or having to go get gloves or anything like that. So you're actually keeping your scent off of the trap itself, which is making it more likely for them to go to it. So that's another thing that they actually teach us is don't set traps with your bare hands, meaning don't actually grab the trap itself, which you don't have to. You're just touching the box. So, it's awesome. It's really a great idea. And then having the trap actually in there set, that's another thing that helps trap them, because traps will actually bounce. People don't know this, but it'll bounce on the rodent and the rodent will get off and go away, which it can't. It can't in the DoomBox. So that's amazing. That's awesome. So where are kind of the best places to use this?
I tell you, we have people using them literally just about any place there's a rodent issue. People are using them. Some of the real interesting new markets that we have opened up, because it is child resistance certified. We sent this off and had the testing done, and it is a child resistance certified product. Mm-hmm. Some of our biggest users are daycares. One of our very first adopters was a daycare, Colorado, that and they have multiple locations, and they've purchased dozens and dozens of these. They absolutely love them because they don't have to worry about the little kids in their traps, and it keeps the mess contained. So any kind of facility like that, senior housing, because you can have the same kind of issue, of course, with some folks that are having some mental issues. They become more childlike. So having it so it's child resistant also works on the other end of the spectrum when you get to the end of life, folks. So those types of places, people who have boats, RVs, campers, campsites, folks that have cabins, absolutely love them because you set, and I tell like, if you've got a cabin, Northern California or someplace, and you're going to get up there every 5-6 weeks or maybe longer, and you've got a rodent problem. If you use the poison, you're going to end up with a smell someplace, and if you use the sticky traps, you're going to end up with a heck of a mess. You got to clean up because it's just going to liquefy on you.
Oh yeah.
So you put out, get a half dozen DoomBoxes, set them around, and the mouse is still going to do what the mouse is going to do as it decomposes, but it's all contained. You don't have a mess in the carpet, the floor, in your engine compartment. One of the places that, and I know you guys in the rodent world know about this, but there's people having more and more issue with mice destroying wiring in their vehicles and wiring harnesses.
Oh yeah.
And because I'm a plastics guy, first and foremost, the reason for that is as there's been a push for more environmentally friendly plastic plasticizers and additives and such. Many of them have moved to plant-based plasticizers. So all of a sudden, this wiring that used to smell like PVC and the mouse doesn't want to touch it now has a whiff of soybean to it. And that's there's a lot of damage done. And by the way, what people don't understand is that's not under your warranty.
Yeah.
You can have a critter get in there and destroy, $1,000 wiring harness in your brand new Mercedes Benz, and so sorry, you have a rodent problem, sir. This is not our problem. So that comes right out of your pocket.
Yep.
We have people that set them. I have a couple of classic cars that just sit in storage, and I put 3 or 4 DoomBoxes in there, and invariably, I'll check them every month or two. And I'll catch one here, catch one there, but I catch them quickly before they start doing damage, which is the other thing, is to get them when they get in the vehicle the first time, and not after they've made a nest and been in there for 3 weeks, and you got a whole family living in there, making, getting in your air filters and everything else, and just making that horrible mess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I was even thinking about it as well as, as a professional, where could I put these? Where could I use them? And I didn't even actually think of a daycare, but daycare would be a great area. Storage units, I even thought of, would be great areas to put them in, because sometimes you don't get the owners of the storage units, or the storage unit, I guess, you can put one in there, but at least it's ready. So if one does get in, they can see it. They can go bring it to the office. They can let them know, and then you guys can get, set everything else, get it all ready. But that just helps us out prevent, because a lot of the times we get called after the fact. We have rodents now. Well, I don't want to come when you have them. I'd rather, prevent that from ever even getting to that point. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was thinking stored cars. I'm glad you even mentioned that, because I know a ton. I just was at a lady's house. She has a truck out front that they don't use, and they're infested with rats in her house. I can't even imagine what the truck looks like. And they haven't opened it. They haven't popped the hood. They have no idea. So, this would be a great one. And I even have a buddy, because I'm originally from Utah, so we have a ton of cabins out there. And I know my buddy would probably love that, because I went up there with him just a couple months ago, and he just has rat traps set out. And so this would be a game changer for him, because if you get something on your carpet and then it starts to decompose, oh, you're going to have that stench in there for a long time.
Oh, it just makes such a mess. And another area where we're getting lots of enthusiastic adapters are facility managers, like for apartment complexes and stuff, because they can set out a bunch of DoomBoxes in corners and such of their facility. And the beautiful thing about it is you can walk by and just look and see, do I have something I got to take care of or not? You don't have to actually go over, open it up, take a look. Is there something inside? No, there isn't. Close it, put it back down again. When I have them set in my garage, I'll have a half dozen set in the corners of my garage. And in the morning I walk in, I can look at the corners and go, okay, I don't have didn't catch anything. Or, oh, I got one over there, go dump it out, reset it, put it back down again. It is so quick and efficient because you can see you got something or don't you got something. You don't have to do anything, don't have to look for the lever, don't have to look inside a opaque box to see if something's inside. You just take a look. If you can see it from 20 feet away, as close as you need to get to know if you got something.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. And that's, I mean, the main thing is I love that because you can see through it. So you know exactly what's in there, if it's been set off, if it hasn't been set off, if the peanut butter's gone, whatever you're baiting with, you have that access so quickly. But also, I mean, what I really, really like about it is you don't have to actually take away, you're not picking up a dead rat off of a trap. That's something I'll never get used to. And I've been doing it for years, is grabbing that trap, pulling that rat off or mouse off and throwing it away, where this is all contained inside. And I'll be honest, for me, if I had one in there for a month, I'd probably just throw the whole thing away. Because, I mean,
it's all about the gross versus how cheap I am equation, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could clean this up, but for the few bucks, I don't think I'm going to go through that mess.
Oh, no, I mean, I've been there. I've picked them up and I'm looking at it and I'm like, nah, this is pretty bad. I'm just going to throw everything away. But no, I think that's awesome. And so can you explain a little bit more? So childproof in our industry, that's big. I'm telling you that right now. Our bait stations have to be childproof. They have to be pet proof. We have to be so careful where we place traps when we go into a home. So this eliminates a massive issue there, because we're trying to figure out, okay, where can I put a trap where a kid or a pet can't get to? Or we're telling the owners, okay, you can't let your dog outside. You can't let your dog in the garage. You can't, and then we're restricting everything. It's like, get rid of your dog for the next month until we catch everything. So explain this child proof design to make it so they can't get in. How does it work?
One is the click it closure technology that we have, which is a pin and a hole, patented, multiple patents that exist in the sidewall of the clamshell. And in order to open the clamshell, you have to deflect the inner wall inwards far enough to release the pin. And it's a very simple, very elegant solution that also makes the other product line, the Clamtainer product line, just fantastic for hardware, nuts, bolts, screws, batteries, you name it. We do all of it, ammunition and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So that has been, we had already had CR, child resistant certification done on that product line. We also performed it on the DoomBox. The DoomBox uses the same click-it closure on one end, and then to make sure that I call it belt and suspenders approach, we also have a patented interlock feature that goes around the sidewalls of the Clamtainer, so that when the lid is closed, there's engagement all the way around the perimeter. So if you grab the side of the Clamtainer, you squeeze, you push, you squeeze, you push, it's engaged with the cover. And until you release the pin, you're not getting in there. You really aren't. And on our website, one of the most adorable little kids I've ever seen. You'll see her trying to figure out how to get inside this thing. And we passed. So child resistant, they actually do a test with how many kids? Kids that are under the age of 51 months. I could be wrong about the age. It's kind of a weird age.
Oh, okay.
And they put the product in front of the children, and they say, try to get into it, and they encourage them to get into it. And I think it's 80% of the children from that age down, if they can't access the product after so many minutes, it's all defined in the rules and regs, then you get your child resistant. Now, here's what's interesting is until I did the first child resistant exam, to keep the little folks out, you also can't make it so only an Arnold Schwarzenegger can get into it. You have to make it so that people that are in the senior age group, 65 and over, or whatever the standard is, that most of them can successfully access it. So it's a pretty interesting field. It really is. And our little invention has hit a home run in all sorts of markets, this being just one of them. But it's been through the testing, and I got the paper to show for it.
No, that's absolutely amazing. Because I mean, that's just so crucial. Because I mean, luckily, I've never ran into an issue where a child actually, had something go off on them, or even a pet. But I couldn't even imagine if something did happen like that, and how angry a parent would be on where I placed the trap and why could the child get to it or anything like that. So I mean, that's huge. That's so awesome that you did think about that, and you really almost. I mean, I can't think of anything you didn't cover, so I want to say almost, because I'm sure someone will come up with something. But you almost covered everything until someone finds something, right? You covered everything. So I mean, it's amazing.
I really appreciate that coming from a pro like you. That it means the world to us, and it's just back to that necessities and mother of invention. I tell you, it wasn't like I was sitting around having coffee one day going, I wonder if I could make a better mousetrap.
Oh, well, hey, I'm even sure you've had people come up to you and say, I thought about this. I thought about making something like this before. Have you had that?
A little bit. One of the fun things is that you don't, until you do something on this line and then you go to a show where 300,000 people walk by, you don't hear about all the interesting, crazy, one-off inventions people have come up with for killing mice. The spinning wheel of death, the bucket with this, and I'm like, yeah, wow, okay.
Oh, well, hey, Jay, I wanted to mention one thing. Have you heard of Pest World?
I just recently heard of Pest World.
Oh, okay. You got to go. So this year it's in November. I've gone every single year other than last year because they had a virtual conference. But they're doing it in Las Vegas. It's over 3 days, but you definitely should go.
Well, you can expect to see us there, Las Vegas.
Yes.
And
okay.
What time of year is that, Daniel?
The show?
Yeah.
Let's see. I think it's the 2nd to the 5th. If you go on, you can actually go on to pestworld.com and they have all their conferences and everything. You could actually go on there and find out the day and time. And it's really, it's awesome because that's where we go. I go there every year to find new products. I've tried to see everything. But you should actually check that out. I think you'd really enjoy that. You're not going to have 300,000 people, but
I'll have the most unique people on the planet for sure, right?
Oh, you definitely will. You will be entertained for 3 days straight. I promise you.
Oh, well, we will have to make that happen. That's a wonderful, wonderful piece of advice. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Jay, before we end, how can people get a hold of you or DoomBox?
If they go to DoomBoxTraps.com, we have contact information in there. We also there's retail pricing there, but there's also if you're a professional and you want to pick up at a wholesale type of level, or you have bigger needs, then don't let the retail pricing put you off. Just get a hold of us directly, and we can work it out.
Okay, awesome. And then, do you have an email or Instagram or anything like that? Social media?
I don't do the social media stuff. Perhaps I should, but I'm an old fogey, and I knew I'd probably just mess it up. So
you're fine.
But I do have an email. Simply my name, Jay Baker, JayBaker at JamestownPlastics.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jay, for coming on and talking a little bit about this amazing product.
Well, thank you very much for the kind word, sir, and we'll look forward to chatting again. I'm sure our paths will cross once more.
Oh, absolutely. You have a good one, Jay.
All right, Daniel, you have a great day now.
Thank you. So there you have it. DoomBox, DoomBoxTraps.com. Go check it out. This is actually, it's a really cool product. It's very practical for us, especially in sensitive situations. And you pros out there, you're going to know exactly what I mean when I say sensitive situations, because you need to be very careful in some of those. And so go check it out. It's actually really cool. You can go watch the video. It's a short video, and it literally explains step by step how to use it, where to put it, practical places to put it. And the design of it's actually really interesting and really cool. So go check it out. Go see what you think. And if you have any feedback, let us know. Let me know. And I'll pass it right back to Jay himself, or you can email him directly and give him feedback. He's obviously super humble and loves to, hear what we have to say. And he's more than willing to make those changes. But from what I've seen, this product, he pretty much covered everything that I would ever even do to one of these traps. So go check out DoomBoxTraps.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. Remember, you can always reach out to me on Instagram at DNA Pest Podcast. Also, you can email at dnapestpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. We love to hear ideas from you. So let's hear it. Thanks, guys.